King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia were no longer simply considering a trip to support Spain. On July 19th, the Spanish monarchs were photographed inside the New York-New Jersey Stadium as Spain faced Argentina in the 2026 World Cup final. Letizia wore red in a clear reference to the national team. Felipe added a red tie to his dark suit, and the couple watched from a stadium box beside Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. But the appearance carried a deeper connection to Spanish football history. 16 years earlier, Felipe and Letizia had also been present when Spain won its first World Cup. And this time, the official royal schedule said the next generation was expected to join them. The central question was no longer whether Felipe and Letizia would make the journey. Their attendance was confirmed by photographs from East Rutherford, New Jersey. The remaining point to watch was how much of the announced full family appearance would become public during the match. Spain's royal household had listed King Felipe, Queen Letizia, Princess Leonor, and Infanta Sofía as attending the final, while the earliest stadium photographs included in the People report concentrated on the king and queen. That does not contradict the official itinerary, but it means the daughter's visible participation should not be overstated without later photographs or an updated palace account. For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. The newest confirmed images showed the royal couple waving from the stands and following the action with Sánchez. They also greeted United States President Donald Trump, who attended the final and was expected to participate in the trophy presentation. The interaction was brief and public, with no basis for attaching a private political meaning to it. It was part of the protocol surrounding an event that brought athletes, entertainers, political leaders, and royal representatives into the same stadium. Queen Letizia's clothing made the family's allegiance unmistakable. Her red dress reflected the color most strongly associated with Spain's national team, known as La Roja. King Felipe's red tie offered a more restrained version of the same message. It was coordinated without appearing to be an official team uniform, allowing the couple to maintain the formality expected in the main stadium box while still visually supporting Spain. That choice followed a much more relaxed royal display only days earlier. After Spain defeated France in the semifinal, the official royal social media accounts released photographs and video of Felipe, Letizia, Princess Leonor, and Infanta Sofía celebrating together. All four wore white versions of Spain's 2026 away jersey, personalized with their names and the number 26. The footage showed cheers, embraces, and a family reacting to the match in a way that was far less formal than a palace ceremony. The message accompanying that celebration congratulated Spain on reaching the final, praised the team's place among the world's leading football nations, and urged the players to pursue the title with the country behind them. The palace did not treat the semifinals simply as another scheduled royal engagement. It presented the family as supporters sharing the same anticipation as millions of Spanish viewers. The timing was significant. On July 14th, Spain defeated France 2-0 to reach its first men's World Cup final since 2010. Mikel Oyarzabal and Pedro Porro scored the goals that moved Luis de la Fuente's team into the championship match. Spain had already been carrying the expectations created by its European success, but the semi-final victory placed the national team within one match of adding a second star to its shirt. One day later, King Felipe was asked whether members of the family would travel to the United States for the final. His reply was only 3 words: "We're on it." At that stage, the answer was a strong indication rather than a detailed announcement. By July 17th, Reuters reported that the royal family, including Princess Leonor and Infanta Sofía, had confirmed plans to attend. The royal household's official July 19th agenda then listed all 4 family members and stated that they would travel to New York for Spain's match against Argentina. That sequence matters because the original story developed in stages. First came the private-looking family celebration. Then came Felipe's hint to reporters. After that came the reported confirmation. Finally, the first match-day photographs established that the king and queen had arrived and were inside the stadium. The story moved from possibility to official itinerary to visible attendance in less than a week. The trip was also not King Felipe's first appearance at the 2026 tournament. On June 26th, he attended Spain's group stage match against Uruguay at Estadio Akron in Guadalajara, Mexico. Spain won 1-0 through an Alex Baena goal, finishing first in Group H and advancing to the knockout stage. The king was photographed greeting officials and later speaking with Spanish players, including Marc Cucurella, Dani Olmo, Nico Williams, and Mikel Oyarzabal. That earlier visit showed that the final appearance was part of a continuing pattern of public support rather than a sudden interest created only by the championship match. Felipe had already traveled within the host region to see the team during the group stage. Once Spain reached the final, the significance expanded from an individual royal visit to what the palace described as a family trip. The strongest historical parallel goes back to July 11, 2010. Felipe and Letizia were then the Prince and Princess of Asturias. They attended the World Cup final in Johannesburg alongside Queen Sofía, as Spain faced the Netherlands at Soccer City. Andres Iniesta's extra-time goal delivered a 1-0 victory and the first men's World Cup championship in Spain's history. Afterward, the royal representatives congratulated the players and coaching staff. King Felipe therefore arrived at the 2026 final as someone who had personally witnessed the defining night of Spanish men's football. Queen Letizia had shared that experience with him. Their return was not just another high-profile sporting engagement. It created a direct visual connection between the only previous Spanish team to reach the final and the generation now attempting to repeat that achievement. Princess Leonor and Infanta Sofía were part of that 2010 story, but from Madrid rather than Johannesburg. They were only 4 and 3 years old when Spain won. The following day, during the team's reception at the Royal Palace, Captain Iker Casillas showed the trophy to the two young princesses. The moment became one of the family images associated with Spain's victory. That makes the 2026 plans especially notable. The children who once saw the trophy after their parents returned from South Africa were now adults, and the official royal schedule named both as part of the delegation traveling for Spain's next final. Princess Leonor, as Princess of Asturias and heir to the throne, also represents the continuation of the monarchy's public role at major national events. The connection is factual and visible without needing to invent a private emotional narrative for the family. There is also a difference in how the two generations experienced the tournament. In 2010, the daughters were too young to attend the final and appeared only at the celebration afterward. In 2026, they had already been shown following the semi-final with their parents, wearing personalized jerseys and joining the family embrace after Spain's victory. The official travel announcement suggested they would now experience the final stage of the tournament directly. Spain's opponent made the occasion even larger. Argentina arrived as the defending champion, led by Lionel Messi, and sought a fourth men's World Cup title. Spain was pursuing its second championship and had kept the same starting lineup used in the semi-final victory over France. The final was also the 104th and final match of the expanded 48-team tournament held across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The event therefore combined several overlapping stories. There was the football story of Spain attempting to regain the title after 16 years. There was the generational story of Messi and Lamine Yamal competing on the same stage. There was the public diplomacy story created by the presence of American and Spanish leaders. And there was the royal family story, connecting Felipe and Letizia's memory of 2010 with Leonor and Sofia's more active place in the public life of 2026. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez's attendance had been announced before the match. Reuters reported that he would be at the final alongside Trump during a period of disagreement between the two governments over defense spending and other international issues. At the stadium, however, the published images centered on the sporting event. Sánchez sat with Felipe and Letizia, and the royal couple exchanged greetings with the American president. There was no confirmed report in the sources reviewed of a substantive political meeting between the monarchs and Trump at the match. That distinction is important because photographs of world leaders can easily attract interpretations that go far beyond the public record. The confirmed fact was that they encountered one another in the official seating area. Any claim that the handshake signaled a diplomatic shift, a negotiation, or a personal alliance would require separate evidence. The football final supplied the setting. It did not automatically establish a political development. The clearer message came from the clothing and the timing. Letizia's red dress, Felipe's red tie, and the family's earlier matching jerseys all communicated support for the same national team. The progression from personalized shirts during the semifinal to formal red accents during the final also matched the change in setting. One moment looked like a family watch party. The other was an official appearance before an international audience. The royal family's semi-final video had already attracted attention because it offered an informal look at figures normally seen at ceremonies, military events, and official engagements. Their reactions appeared spontaneous, but the video was still released through the royal household's official channels. It was therefore both a family moment and a carefully public national message. The palace chose to share it because Spain's advance had become a major cultural event, not simply because the family happened to be watching television. By the day of the final, the message had shifted from celebration to presence. Felipe and Letizia were physically in New Jersey, inside the stadium, supporting the team in the same way they had traveled to Johannesburg in 2010. The difference was that Felipe was now king rather than heir, Letizia was queen rather than princess of Asturias, and Leonor had become the adult heir who may one day carry the same representative responsibility. The start line takeaway is that this was not only a royal fashion story and not only a celebrity sighting in a stadium box. What changed was the confirmation that Felipe and Letizia had completed the journey after initially leaving their plans open. Their red accents provided the immediate visual, but the lasting significance came from the 16-year link between Spain's two World Cup finals. Viewers should also avoid overstating what the first photographs proved. They confirmed the king and queen's attendance, their seats beside Sánchez, and their greeting with Trump. The royal household's official agenda announced that Leonor and Sofía would attend as well, but the initial people coverage did not show the daughters in the published stadium images. Later official photographs may resolve that point, and those should be checked before the final video is uploaded. As the match began, another outcome remained unresolved: whether Felipe and Letizia would witness Spain lift the trophy again. The final had started shortly after 3 p.m. Eastern Time, with Spain pursuing its second title and Argentina its fourth. No verified result was available at the research cutoff, so any victory celebration, trophy presentation, or post-match royal statement must be added only after official confirmation. Whatever the final score became, the trip had already completed a public circle. In 2010, Felipe and Letizia traveled as the future king and queen and watched Spain create football history. In 2026, they returned as monarchs, with an official plan that included the two daughters who had once been waiting at home to see the trophy. Spain's players still had to determine the ending on the field, but the royal family's connection between the two finals was already visible.